Welcome to Grow Your Credit Union. This is the podcast where credit union leaders gather, learn, and grow. We are recording live from the CU Intersect conference in New Orleans at the Royal Sonesta Hotel, which may or may not be haunted. First things up, I want to first mention our sponsor, Pure IT. Jack is from Pure IT. You saw them out there. Show them some love. They are my sponsor. I owe them for the rest of the day. I will be trumpeting their stuff in the airport until I leave. So Pure IT, check them out, pureitqso.com. Let's introduce our guests. First up, my co-host for today. She is the COO at Great Lakes Credit Union, Elizabeth Osborne. Give her a little love. Give her a little love. And my sponsored guest today, Jack Smith. He's the CEO and co-founder of Pure IT. Give him a little bit of love, too. I have a quote here from Bill Illis from MDT, and he said, "Many think they're ready for AI, but they're not. Guardrails, monitoring, oversight, most credit unions haven't even started." Now, my problem with this is we haven't even started, but AI is already in your credit union. It's embedded in fraud detection tools. A lot of you are using it for loan decisioning. So my question is, and we'll start with you, Jack, if your vendors are already using AI in their products and you don't have AI governance frameworks in place, who is actually responsible when something goes wrong?
The vendor.
Please go deeper on that one, Jack.
So, I did it on purpose, but because
I thought that's all you were leaving.
No,
me
I was
with
not going to leave you with the vendor. No, it's funny. So, I work with Great Lakes. Me and Elizabeth work together a lot, actually, and when you're dealing with a credit union, especially, and she's great at it. She's very good at negotiating her contracts. But the reality is, like, her and I don't really have a lot of negotiation when we talk about things because she's asking me for things that I should give, right? Like if it's, hey, you guys are putting technology into my environment and I have no guardrails on that technology, what are your she's gonna ask me to define those guardrails, and then we're gonna put that in the contract. So we're actually going to codify what that looks like and who's responsible for what. So we'll put demarcation into an agreement because you need to have demarcation lines on who's responsible for what. Because let's be honest, things do happen. And if you're really partnered, we're gonna figure it out together anyway, right? And when you're working with a true partner, I don't wanna put that burden on a credit union that hasn't done the work yet. And part of the reason that Elizabeth works with us is because we do go do the work to figure out. We go test things, we go look at things, we try to make sure that it's gonna work right before we implement.
Elizabeth, give me your take, and then I'm gonna try to put you two on the spot with some stuff. Go ahead, who's responsible?
Okay, spot on, Jack, thank you. So a couple things. One, vendors are responsible. However, as leaders, and this is leaders for credit unions, leaders for frankly any organization, it is your responsibility to make sure you have the protections. Those protections in your contract, which it's a lot easier when you have a new contract. And now that we know what we know, applying that knowledge, hopefully that you learned here and also from your peers, applying that to your contracts, it's a lot easier then. One challenge I've been running into is, actually we talked about this on Monday, how we have these the shiny penny syndrome. A lot of leaders have signed a gazillion contracts. We got all these vendor contracts and they're old and people forget about them and they automatically renew, right? So we as leaders also need to go back. You need to know who your vendors are. You need to look at the language in there and ask yourself, do you have the protections? And you need to be very upfront and honest, like Jack and I talk about. This is our expectation. Right? In order to continue business, we need the guardrails. We need protections. So limitations of liability, confidentiality, know all the language, speak with a lawyer to get almost like standard language that you can apply and just send that out. Send it out to your vendors and say, this is what we expect from you. And if they're not willing to work with you, then they're not the right partner. So that's where you really have to take that step back, but be persistent.
Good answer, but I've got something for you. So a lot of these cyber attacks that have been happening lately, Jack, you know this, third-party vendors, risks that the credit union didn't know about. A lot of these AI guys it's a black box, man. We don't really know how it works, bro. It's a black box. We don't really know. So if it's a black box, is it really possible to know what you're at risk for if you have a third-party vendor that is using an AI tool?
Well, I think another thing that you need to do to your vendors is make sure they have a SOC 2. Because then you know it's been verified that what they're giving you is safe and secure and all of those things. Like when we got into the credit union industry 10 years ago, I looked at my team and I'm like, I know this is going to cost a lot of money, but we have to get a SOC 2. Like we have to go through this because we're about to go into financial institutions, and there's no way that we can have gaps or holes in what we do. Because if we're the problem, so most companies, and I would say most vendors actually do that, especially tech vendors tend to do that.
Sometimes no. And so I find, and this is unfortunate, it's like almost like predatory contracts out there where you have some vendors that you have to ask for information, which this is table stakes. If you want a contract for a financial institution, you better have a SOC 2, type 2 likely. It depends on what services and what you do. Exactly. But a lot of them don't provide it unless you ask. The fact I have to ask for it is embarrassing from their perspective, because this is what they should be automatically providing to you as a financial institution, because we are the ones, we have the reputational risk when something goes wrong. And it's not the vendor.
And it doesn't seem like it's a bad thing to expect for us to be audited too.
Yeah,
exactly. Like you get audited all the time. I mean, we get audited twice a year now too. We have the SOC 2 and we have the financial audit from the NCUA. So I mean, I think vendors need to know that. Like they need to be audited just like their clients do.
A lot of this is around governance. So AI governance is the hot topic. I've talked about this a little bit with Brian Hinsey. One practical tip that maybe each of you could give very quickly when setting up AI governance, because it does not seem like, well, I'll just tell you what the Government Accountability Office said. They said NCUA's AI model risk guidance is too vague to be useful, and that the NCUA literally cannot examine your AI vendors. So it feels like it's a little wild, wild west when it comes to AI governance. So one practical tip you could leave everybody with.
Absolutely. So start with a policy. Do you have an AI policy? Because that policy determines and should define what AI tools and solutions you are allowing in your network and your environment, who has access to them, what protections, what guardrails you have. It's a laundry list of what should be in there, but start with your policy. If you don't have a policy, that's a great starting point. And credit unions are great. We share information. If you don't have one, ask someone to share with you what they've defined and what they've documented, and it needs to go with your board. You need to share with your board.
So now I'm going to speak from the board member perspective because I'm on the board of a credit union as well. And I was going to say this, it's policy. It needs to be a policy. It needs to be written. And I think that the bigger issue for it is what I worry about, and you kind of covered this in your speech the other day, was that we have credit unions that are using AI without policy right now. And that is actually the scary thing. So I don't need the NCUA to necessarily define that policy, but the credit union needs to define that policy and make sure that they're keeping their members secure. So that would be where I would start.
Executive burnout. It's becoming a problem. More than half of all executives burned out last year, and it's costing organizations millions. According to Superhuman's 2025 research, 56% of leaders experienced burnout, and 43% of businesses lost at least half their leadership teams to turnover. Now, for credit unions, I don't think this is a small problem. Our industry runs on relationships. It runs on people staying at organizations for a long time and building foundations. So my question, let's start with you, Elizabeth. What should credit unions be examining in their own operations before they lose their leadership team to burnout?
All right, so burnout is very real. It happens. And I think leaders need to look in the mirror. Are you setting the standard? Are you setting the example of what you expect from your team? So if you don't want your employees, your staff, to respond to emails on weekends when it's not important, but then you are responding to not important emails. We're not talking about like data breaches or outages, et cetera. We're talking about like just general emails. You're setting that tone and example. So you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, am I setting that tone? Am I setting the right example? Because it truly starts at the top, and that's the very top. Starts with the CEO, starts with the C-suite. Set the example.
Jack, give me your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think burnout's an individual thing too, and I think each person's different. And so from my perspective, because I mean, obviously, we all get tired, we all get worn out. I think it's learning your operating rhythm and knowing when to give yourself grace, knowing when you're just having a bad day. Like this is the day, and I need to pull back, and I need to just reinvigorate myself. And I think a lot of people don't do that, and that's the problem. They lean in on the day they should pull back a little. That's how you get to burnout really fast, and it's not giving yourself grace. And I mean, to me, it's just, but I see it because you don't want to stop, right? And so I get it too, because I don't want to stop, but I know that I have to every once in a while.
Elizabeth, I got one for you. This is my favorite one. So the data here says 56% of leaders burned out last year. So statistically speaking, one of you probably were feeling burnout in the last year, right? So Elizabeth, talk to me about what was the moment, and let's be honest, you probably faced burnout, so this is being presumptive here, that you did. What was the moment in the last year that you realized you were in trouble, and what did you do about it?
Yeah, I would say there was a period of time where I was traveling a lot. We were working on a data conversion for a merger and a lot of huge initiatives. And my team was just stretched thin. I was stretched thin. And there were several nights in a row where I woke up and it was like, I call it the witching hour, like 3 a.m. 3 a.m. is awful because it's late enough where you should go back to sleep, but you really can't. And so by the time you may fall back asleep, it's time, that's when your alarm goes off. And so it's just awful. And what was happening is my brain was going, because it's like instantly I'm thinking about my day, I'm thinking about the emails, things I'm missing, et cetera. And my kids told me, they're like, Mommy, you look tired. And I'm like, oh God, I look like crap. That's not good. And it's because I'm not sleeping, and it's because I'm getting burned out. It's too much. And so I really try to, it's really holding myself accountable to it, to do things like put do not disturb on your phone. For that, if you have an iPhone, I'm using that more and more often because it helps. You need to disconnect, but it's a daily struggle. It's a problem.
Talk to me though, let's go a little bit deeper. So like meditate, like what I'm looking for is, one dude told me, he's like, I swim for 2 hours a night and I shut everything off. So like for you, Elizabeth, do you meditate? Is there something that you have to do to stay mentally sane under those pressure-filled moments?
Yeah, absolutely. So exercise for me, and it needs to be first thing in the morning. If I keep on a routine with it, I notice my stress levels are much better. My day's better. Like I speak better. I'm calmer with my teams, with my kids, with my husband. Like the whole day is so much better when I am able to exercise. When I can't, because I'm waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's no way in hell I'm gonna go to the gym. And so then I'm already on this like bad path. So that is my answer for that one.
Good answer. Jack, same thing for you. In the last year, is there any story you can tell about just a moment of anguish with you? You were down in the trenches, man, and you noticed it and you reacted and got yourself out of it.
So actually, it's going to be a little inverse because I've had an interesting year. So my wife passed away 7 months ago. So for me, it was actually leaning on my partners. They picked up the slack for me. And was I burned out? Well, I mean, yeah, but it wasn't burnout. That's just a heavy thing, right? So for me, it was just, I did have to pull back last year, like for months. And I had an unbelievable team, and they carried the weight.
Well, that's an interesting point, because we're not, just going through burnout, but like the emotional things that are going on in our lives, we don't talk about them. And oftentimes you don't feel like it's cool to talk about it.
No.
So how did you, no, it's
no,
not.
You don't.
It's not cool to talk about it. So just give me an example of how you leaned on your team, and I'm assuming you communicated that to the team, and obviously they're good people, so they acknowledge that.
Yeah,
and maybe they gave you grace when maybe, I don't know, you weren't performing as highly.
No, I definitely wasn't performing. I wasn't doing anything. So no, I think, my team, again, one of my business partners I've worked with for literally, 31 years. And so, yeah, she's had moments where she's needed, we've known each other a long time, and we've been there for each other in those moments, right? And when you build that kind of relationship, and then Trent, I mean, I've known him for 20 or 12 years now, and we have that relationship. So, I mean, it was really easy for me because they made it really easy for me. Like, in other words, they said to me, you need to go do this. And they didn't make it a burden for me. So no, I think that's an imperative too. And because we talked about what we try to do for ourselves, it's having people you can talk to. So like I have Becky Reed, who I've known for 34 years. And I mean, she'd probably be, I'm not supposed to be up here, by the way. She was supposed to be up here and she's much better looking, but I'm sorry. But she texted me this morning, right? And we do this a lot to each other. And it's, hey, I really need you right now. I need a soul talk. I need help, right? And we do that to each other. Like I do it to her. There'll be a day where I'm struggling. I'm like, hey, I need some advice. I'm not having a good day. I'm feeling insecure about some things. I need to work through it. I mean, I think that's the funny thing. You guys might think, hey, he's a CEO. It's like, I'm just like everybody. I mean, everyone's just like everybody else. We all have the same struggles and the same things. So it's really just knowing that and then having good people around you.
In 2020, Alliant Credit Union went 100% digital, no branches. Today, they have over 900,000 members and probably roughly around $20 billion in assets. There's a cost factor with physical branches, Elizabeth. I think according to data from Sesame.io and ARL Location Strategies, a new branch can run anywhere from $2 to $4 million to build and $200,000 to $400,000 a year to operate. So here's the question. Let's start at a 30,000 foot view. Is the traditional branch-based approach still necessary for credit union survival?
Okay, this is like the question I struggle with all the time because, one, it's important for us all to recognize that it's not a one answer for all, okay? Every institution, every organization is different. What Alliant did, they've been wildly successful, and that's awesome. There's some flip sides to that too. What I see in the Chicago market is you lose that community involvement, you lose that tie-in, and so how can you be true to the movement? And so I think that's a path they take, and it's just a different path, and that's okay. For Great Lakes Credit Union, we take a really hard look at physical branches because, man, they are expensive. And that's just the physical cost of it. Like think about the physical costs, all the time and money and effort in establishing that location. Then you have to staff it, all right? So it's a lot. And so we all have to think about, okay, does that location make sense to you? But I think also we all need to really start digging into what services are you offering at the branch? If you're just doing regular teller type transactions, then I'd argue, do you really need it? You need to look at your transaction count. Instead, say, what else can I do to expand services to do more? So at Great Lakes Credit Union, we are HUD certified. So we have housing counselors that sit in our physical locations and they meet with members and non-members alike in the branch. That helps to bring in traffic. We're leveraging the office space for those meetings instead of having separate. Makes sense. I think on the other side, credit unions, we shy away from the word selling. We think like, oh, credit unions don't sell. That's what the banks do. Yes, we need to flip the script and recognize that it's not selling. What you're doing is informing and educating your members of product opportunities they may not be aware of. There's so much that you could do. So I think if we just, as leaders, kind of flip to how we word it, it's not to become a sales culture. It's instead, how can we further enable our members, improve their financial stability, offer them the products and services they need that will help get them down that path. That is the opportunity. And you just don't see it in a lot of credit unions, in my experience.
So I'm going to give it an interesting, I agree with her. First of all, one size does not fit all, right? But I also think it's interesting to me because one of the first credit unions we ever worked with, they were a small credit union and they had a really cool strategy. Their strategy was, we want to go back to the community with iPads and be able to do everything we could do for a member in the physical location and do it where they are. except for cash drawer, because you can't do cash drawer on an iPad. But that was it. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. And their strategy was, we're going to go to all these small businesses owners and say, we would like to provide financial counseling for your employees, and we'll come on site. And so we actually guinea pigged it at our CUSO. Like, we were like, come do this with our people, like at our CUSO. And they got 3 car loans and they got 7 new account openings. So it's how what strategy is, I guess, where I'm going to go with it. It's like, what is your strategy and what is it you're trying to accomplish? And so if you need physical branches, okay, like she said, she has a strategy. That's what she did. She told you what their strategy is for physical branches. If you're not going to have physical branches, then how are you going to impact the community? What is your strategy for that? And can you do that? Because if you're willing to go out, maybe you have one branch with people that just go out to the community all the time. Now you're actually doing community outreach.
There was a guy I talked to on the show, and he said that his former credit union had what he called shred days. And I'm thinking to myself, it's where I can bring my guitar in and just shred some metal licks. But he was talking about like paper shredding. And I'm like, I don't know if anybody wants to do that, but maybe we're not thinking about the creativity enough when it comes to the physical branch. Like, how many things could we actually do? But other than the shred day, he talked about your kid has a birthday party. Like, maybe they can come in and use the space. So basically, like, utilizing the real estate, not just for like teller transactions.
No, I mean, think about it. If you were to that's actually brilliant. If you sent out mailers to all your members, and if you have a child with a birthday, they'd be like, you have a birthday party where you can use our facility this year. I mean, they're members. They own this. They're owners. I think that's brilliant, actually.
It's smart. I like that.
Is there something like that you would like to try? If you were just to have your little dream land right now, Elizabeth, I'm putting you on the spot, but if you could just try anything, any one thing in the branch that has not yet been done, could you come up with something right now that you think would be pretty cool?
Okay, so we introduced something recently, and I think I'm going to expand on it. How about that? So we introduced Branch in a Box. I don't know if anyone here has ever done that, but it's really meeting, because I love what you said, Jack, meeting members where they're at. And so we have a lot of seg relationships. And so it's really creating like a mobile branch almost, but it's just to meet those basic services that are needed. So that way people can like bank where they work or bank where they're at, et cetera. What I love to do is almost like put it on wheels and take it to all of our, we do a ton of volunteering. Take it to the volunteering events, to the community events, et cetera, and kind of tie in the like party aspect with it, right? Where you can just make it more fun. And so it doesn't feel like banking. It's just like, oh, I'm talking to my friends. I'm talking to people I trust because they trust you. So I think there's an opportunity to do that further.
I like that one a lot. Jack, anything creative that you've been thinking about since she's been speaking?
Well, actually, I was still thinking about how the intersection of tech, so the thing that makes credit unions really special is the people, right? Like and that interaction. And so I think credit unions shy away from not having physical branches because they feel like we're going to miss out on that. And so what I was thinking about was when I was telling you about that one credit union, how genius it was that they actually did the people with the tech. So they took the tech to enable the human interaction, right? And I think so doing more of that, that's where I think, because banks don't do that, won't do it, don't care, right? And credit unions can dominate from that. It's a personal thing. If you were to come to my house and do my banking, wow, that would just blow me away, right? And now we have a relationship, and I'm not gonna go to anybody else, right? So anyway, I think it's how do you leverage it? Because the thing that credit unions are phenomenal at is relationships and taking care of their members.
For nearly 10 years, Pure IT has helped credit unions modernize their technology, strengthen their cybersecurity posture, and build strategic roadmaps that align with their mission to serve members. They don't show up with a one-size-fits-all solution. Instead, Pure IT meets your credit union exactly where you are, whether you're tackling infrastructure upgrades, navigating regulatory pressure, or just trying to stretch a small IT team across big institutional priorities. Pure IT's approach is simple. Put strategy first, reduce complexity, and give leaders the clarity they need to make confident technology decisions. With deep experience across cloud alignment, cybersecurity resilience, and long-term IT planning, They empower credit unions to operate securely, efficiently, and with purpose. If your institution is ready for a strategic partner who understands the unique challenges of the credit union world, visit pureitqso.com to learn more. That's pureitqso.com. Pure IT, helping credit unions build technology that works as hard as they do. Harvard Business Review coined this term AI workslop to describe low-effort AI-generated content that looks polished but lacks real substance, forcing colleagues to interpret, correct, and redo it. And according to their 2025 research, 40% of U.S. full-time employees have reported receiving AI workslop in the past month. Each incident wastes nearly 2 hours of employee time. If you don't know what I'm referring to, let's do an example. I work for Jack, or maybe Jack works for me. I ask Jack for a business report. Jack puts some crap into Claude or ChatGPT. It spits it out. It looks kind of sort of like a business plan, but it lacks nuance and it forces me to do the last 30, 40% of the real work. So you actually handed me incomplete work that I have to fill in the blanks on. So the big problem with this, folks, actually even bigger than what I've already said, is there's a credibility problem. So in that Harvard Business Review study, 42% of the people said that they trust the sender less after receiving AI workslop. So that's going to erode my trust in you if you're sending me that garbage. That's going to make it contentious in the workplace because I don't know, I can't trust you anymore to do your work. You're not really looking at stuff. So Elizabeth, let's kick things off with you. Has AI workslop shown up at your credit union yet? And how do you call it out without like killing morale and putting the person on blast?
Man, oh man, it is embarrassing if you are the sender and it's obviously written by, like we use Copilot, okay? So if you're a team shop, if you're Microsoft 365 shop, if you have Copilot turned on, guaranteed this is already happening, okay? I think we've all received that like very polished, overly like polite, long email that says absolutely nothing, right? Okay, and then you're like, what the heck is this? Or this is embarrassing. I received an email from a vendor that was had the ChatGPT prompt in the front, like here's a polished version. And I was like, are you for real? And so I sent it back. I'm like, hey, just a heads up, you included the prompt. And so, and they're like, I'm so embarrassed. I'm like, okay. So, but we all use AI. We use the tools and stuff. My team uses it, and I tactfully call it out with my team. That's what I do. So, like for example, I received a business proposal, so similar to what you stated, from one of my directs, and he sent it to me, and I read it, and I'm like, what the heck is this? I'm like, come on. So I printed it out, and I was like, hey, let's go through this together, okay? And he's like, okay. So he comes to my office, and I'm like, walk me through this business proposal. So we start going through section by section, and I could tell he's a little uncomfortable, okay? And then I'm like,
he's uncomfortable because he didn't do anything.
No.
He should be uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I was like, what are you actually trying to say here? And he's talking, he's trying to explain it, and then he's like, I use Copilot. I'm like, yeah, I know. Okay, so like, let's work together. Use it as a tool. Don't have it write it for you. Use it as a tool. You still got to put the structure and the content in there. And so we talked about how to leverage it to partner with you as almost like an assistant instead of letting it do all your work. So I'm like, this just cost me an hour of time. What a waste of time. So
you walked through it with him, and you didn't like point it out, but like when you both look at it together, it's very clear. Like it doesn't need to be said when you walked through it with him.
Yeah, and he owned up to it, which was good. That's what I was hoping would happen, is that he would just admit to it instead of like having this embarrassing discussion. Yeah. But yeah.
Jack, pass me the AI workslop, my man. Have you seen it in your day-to-day, and sort of how did you call it out without being a jerk?
So I'm not as nice as Elizabeth. I wish I was, but I'm pretty direct. Yeah, I just call it out. Like, there's no nuance in this. It doesn't look like you really understand what you're telling me. So this must be AI because it's just a problem. I will tell you this, and I think that where people fail with AI a lot is not understanding that you have to give it the context, you have to give it your knowledge. Like, it has to have your knowledge to be worth anything. So if you're gonna use it, I will never let it write for me. What I let it do is I actually tell it what I want, where I want it to sound, how I want to talk about this, what's important about what I want it to do, and then let it generate that, and then I go clean that up because it doesn't sound like me. And so when I've realized from an email perspective, for me, I always type like I talk. And so if I send someone AI, they're gonna know because it's a business email. It's a polite business email. It's not this is Jack emailing me. So when I get it, it's the same thing I feel for other people. I know how you would type an email to me. This is not you.
It's not in your tone.
It's not your tone. It's not you. And so it's so obvious, and people I don't know how they don't realize it. So it frustrates me, but I try to be patient because I understand that people are learning a new tool. So while I'm direct and say, hey, this is not going to cut it, I also say, let me coach you on, then the coaching comes in, right?
So you're still nice.
Well, I'm still nice because I'm not trying to, I'm not mad. I'm just frustrated because like, you're making me do your work. You said it.
Yeah, you're making
me do your work, and I don't want to do your work, and you need to do your work. So it gets a little frustrating.
Can I get a show of hands, if everybody wants to be honest? Have any of you sent in AI workslop to any of your coworkers?
Be honest.
Be honest. You've used AI. My producer in the back. I know you have. I've seen some of the stuff you've sent me, man. But is he the only one who's going to admit to that? I'm trying to think.
We had a couple hands over here.
I raised my hand.
And I raised my hand.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I've done it. I can't think of the exact occasion, but I'm pretty sure I've done it. If it's a low stakes thing.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's when I've done it. When I'm like, oh, this is just me responding quickly. Not that it's not important, but this will get the point across. Like, I don't have to fix this. This is just direct, big, like 2 sentences, something like that, where it's very easy. But that's about it. I mean,
yeah, I probably use it without really looking, like, make this email more friendly. And it's like, good sir, greetings from the general. And it's like, okay, we're going with Victorian language. I mean, let's do it. Okay.
So when you see the hyphen, you always know. By the way, it's a dead tell, right? In any AI, anything you get from AI will have something hyphenated that you would never have hyphenated. Like you're like going, would I have put that there? I don't think I would have done that. It looks great. I probably should be using hyphens more, but that's what it always does to me. I'm always like,
you are so it's so true.
No, it's true. I'm not smart. I don't write for the New Yorker. I'm not smart enough to use this many hyphens. Like, you see that for me, it's like, dude, you went to community college. All of a sudden,
everyone's like, dude, are you a business writer? Yeah, that's me. No.
All right, let's get into the questions from the crowd. Our first question comes from, and Jeff, the last name I can't tell, but he's with Stage Point Federal Credit Union. He's got a pretty solid question here, Jack and Elizabeth. And his question is, small credit unions often lack the budget to match the technology investments of larger peers. So where do you see their biggest opportunities to differentiate and thrive despite those challenges? Jack, let's start with you.
So I love this question because I actually think that's not true. I actually think that, so I wish Jose was here right now from Northwest Credit Union. It's a $60 million credit union, and they're doing everything big credit unions do. The question isn't can you, it's how do you do it, right? It's more of a looking at the budget, understanding this could be a 3 to 5 to 6 to 7 year endeavor. It's a strategy that's going to have to be long term because we don't have the budget to eat that whole elephant at the beginning. And so we have to focus on compliance. We have to focus on security because that's the most important thing. And then we move into the more fun stuff over time. And we look for, and I don't want to plug my own company right now, but I will, I guess. You look for a partner like us, and it doesn't have to be us, but that wants to actually So we're a CUSO. So for us, it's our mission. We have to go help small credit unions, right? And so my architects actually architect solutions for small credit unions because they know they can't afford the Cadillac. So they try to figure out how do we get them everything a Cadillac has that's cost effective and allows them to still do these things and compete. And so I think if you have a vendor or a person in your credit union that's thinking that way, that's how you do it. I mean, but it's not going to be as fast, and I don't want to sit here and act like it's going to be easy either, but it can be done, and we've done it. I mean, I see it done in a lot of small credit unions. So it's the leadership, if I'm being very direct, in the credit union. I'm just going to say it. The C-suite makes a huge difference in a small credit union. I mean, not that it doesn't make a huge difference in a big one, but it makes the C-suite in a small credit union does a lot of things, right? They do a lot. And so they have to have the time to come up with the strategy to then go figure out how they want to do this. And sometimes they just don't have that. And so then it's what do I need to bring in that I don't have to help me get there? So that's my answer. Yeah.
Good answer, Elizabeth.
Yeah, so it is a challenge that I think all of us face. What I'm seeing from some partners, and many of them are doing more asset-based pricing, which is interesting. In some cases, I'm like, I don't like where we're falling in that asset bracket. But because we're 1.4, 1.5 billion in credit unions. I know that's like kind of more medium to large. In my experience, that's really small. And so you get the same challenges that you have. And so sometimes you just got to think differently, really think about what's important, especially with credit unions. We have opportunities to leverage things like band together and form a CUSO to attract better pricing. That's been done. If you aren't aware of that, speak to your league, speak to other credit unions in your industry. They are doing that today, and it's really helping because when you band together, you drive down pricing, so it increases demand, drives down pricing, and it gives you better negotiating power.
So one of the things we're working on at Pure IT, and I love that she just said this, is becoming an aggregator for the industry, right? Yes. So how do you find things that we could take small credit unions and say, you're not going to go buy this by yourself. We're going to pull the power of all of you together to go buy this so that you all get it cheaper because the volume is going to get you the discount. You couldn't do this by yourself. And so we've been trying to do that. Right now, we're trying to do that with Microsoft licensing for credit unions. We're like, the more we can get, the cheaper we can make that for credit unions, right? And so that's one of the things we're working on, but we're working on it in multiple ways. But to me, that is the way, it's aggregation. You got to aggregate.
Let's jump to the next question. It comes from Sky, and they're with Pacific Cascade Federal Credit Union. And the question is, how do you balance human touch with increasing reliance on technology? Jack.
Again, I think the example I gave a minute ago, it's a perfect example of taking tech, implementing the tech, and then taking the personal side of a credit union and going out and meeting people and talking to them. I mean, I think the thing that I always hear, and I've heard it for 10 years, I've been in the industry now for 10 years, is we are community-based. We are for the community. Well, then let's go to the community and let's use tech to enable that. Let's actually, because I think that's a powerful thing. Like me and Trent, one of my business partners, talking about why wouldn't you go set up if you were a credit union, we were just having this random conversation one day, why wouldn't you just go set up a booth at a high school graduation with an iPad and offer student loans right as they're coming out, like, hey, we have these really good rates on student loans and we'd love to talk to you about them and we can do it right here, right now. And that's a way to grow revenue. It's a way to help your community. These are kids that are about to go to college. Why wouldn't you go back into that? I mean, so it's getting creative strategically, again, leveraging tech. Because the only reason you have tech, like I'm just going to say this too, and I think it needs to be said. We all love tech that are in this room. Most people that are cyber or on the IT side, you love tech. But most people don't, right? And so the reality is the only reason we have tech is to enable the business. That's it. It's not there because you like it. It's there because it serves a member better, faster, whatever it is. And so if you always think from that perspective when you're building tech, how does this impact the business and what we're trying to accomplish? That's when you get aligned.
All right, Elizabeth, let's see. Balancing human touch with increasing reliance on technology. How do you do it?
Yeah, so the approach that we've followed and continue to follow is that it complements what Jack stated very well, which is offering your members a channel of choice. because some members want technology. Let's say, I talked about Olive, our conversational AI bot that all calls go through. Okay, that's great. That's one channel. But members have the option of still speaking with an agent if they so choose, and that's okay. Some people want to do that. Others want to use chat bots. Others want to send an email. Some people still want to go in a branch. I don't like going in branches. I go in branches when I need to, which is really just to see employees, okay? But that's my preference. I'd rather use technology. Others would rather have that human side, that interaction. So it's making sure you're presenting members options so they can choose what's best for them. That's so important. And then also I love the idea of, it goes back to meeting members where they're at, right? And so bringing that technology with you so you can help show them how to use it, but also leverage it in your conversation.
Well, I was going to say, I think it would be really cool to see a credit union go, okay, let's target our 60 and over members. Let's go to them and teach them individually how to use some of our tools, because who frustrates you the most in the call center when it's doing online banking? I already know the answer because I'm on the board of a credit union, like I said. So it's your older members, and they will call and they don't understand, or they're confused. And so if we actually went out and educated them, how much better would they feel about the credit in general, just that loyalty that would come from that?
Next question, it's anonymous, it's secret, they're in a cloak.
Ooh.
We all heard a lot about AI this week. Is AI education a part of your strategy, and are you prepping your workforce to work with AI? Elizabeth.
So it has to be part of that. And it goes back to the conversation we had about leveraging tools. If you're not educating and coaching your employees how to use it appropriately, as defined in that policy you got to have, right? This goes back to, you have to have a policy, but education is really important. A co-pilot is a really easy first step of leveraging AI, a solution in your institution that is available for everyone and they can use it. Well, Microsoft does a great job of sharing free videos and free how-tos and tips and tricks. So we share that with staff, but I also just try to coach them through it a lot. I do think we have more opportunity to further that education. Also educating members how to use something. So when we launched Olive, one of our key focuses for the call center agents were to use the time on the call to educate our members how to use Olive better. So they reviewed the transcript and they're like, hey, can I just share something with you? I see that when you spoke with Olive, you requested this. Next time, why don't you try saying it this way? And I bet you'll get a better result. If you could help us out there, that'd be great. That helps Olive, it helps us, it helps you, right? So use that time and really teach your members and your employees.
Jack, how are you educating your team?
We're actually going to go back and create a policy.
Boy, that sounds fun, Jack.
Yeah, I told Elizabeth, I was like, oh, you hit me over the head in your talk the other day because we have been struggling. And it's funny because we go coach people, and then sometimes you're the last, when you're the cobbler's kids, you make everybody else's shoes and you forget about your own. So so we were like, we need to go harden our policy, because right now our policy is you can only use ChatGPT. I mean, we do have one, but it's just you can only use ChatGPT. But there's a lot more we need to put around that and how you use it, what you do. So we're going to do a lot of training. We've decided as a team that we need to do that.
Last question. It's another anonymous question. Is the ultimate answer to proper AI use always thorough reviewing the AI answers before it's assuming it's valid? Trust but verify. Jack, is that the ultimate proper use of AI?
I think it could be a use. I mean, it's a use case. I think there's so many different use cases, right? Like I think AI, you can unleash it in different ways, but yeah, can it validate? Yes, but it's only as good as what's in it, right? Like, so I think this is the other thing I was talking to my team about, which is the models that you use, and if they're private, public, all those things matter. So if you're building out your internal models for it to give you the answers that you want, right? I think you have to put the time and effort into it. I guess what I'm trying to say is it doesn't have all the answers.
I would say, and you can take that question in a couple ways. So it could be on the implementation of new AI. So if you think about that approach, making sure you have really well thought out test cases and test scripts, and that you are vetting and verifying everything before it launches. That's key. But then that then transitions to ongoing monitoring and maintenance of it. And it can't just be a, hey, we verified, it's great, that's working. No, you have to keep, because you have to ensure it's still ethical, it's still accurate, that the output is still meeting your expectations. So that's kind of two sides of it.
You do have to check and validate it, whoever wrote this question. But I also think what you said is important earlier, Jack. I'm the host. I'm really not supposed to pontificate on my opinion here, but I just feel like a lot of you have been made to think that what AI spits out is better than what you spit out, when in fact, I hadn't read novels in a long time. I was reading a lot of the workslop on LinkedIn, and I'm in the credit union space, so there's a lot of us are using this AI workslop. And then I went back and read some of my favorite writers, and the language was just dancing off it was like, whoa, what is even happening right now? And you realize that what AI puts out, guys, that's not real writing. So I'm a big 80-20 person. Either you can use AI to defeat the blank page and start with 80% of what's there and you finish the last 20, or you write everything yourself. If you have a 6-page document, write the whole thing yourself
and
then put it through AI to have it review. But what it's going to spit out is it's slop. And I think what we've proven here today is we all notice. You're not fooling anybody. If the AI was so good, then how come I can tell in 2 seconds that it's sloppy Joe? So that would be my take on that. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the show. I want to give another little round of applause for everybody that put on the CU Intersect conference. Brian Hinsey's in the room. He's one. Pure IT is another. This was an incredible conference. Thank you all for having us. Everybody treated me so well. You cyber people are very, very friendly. A couple of you took me out last night, and I didn't really know who you were, and you were just like, hey, come on out. I'm like, okay, sure, let's do it. Want to give a thanks to Elizabeth Osborne. Give her a round of applause. I want to give a thanks to Jack Smith of Pure IT. Also, please give a round of applause for Becky Reed, because as Jack mentioned, Becky was supposed to be here today. And I want to give a special thanks to you all for hanging around and listening to this. If you like the show, follow us on your podcast player of choice. We're Grow Your Credit Union. You can check out our website, growyourcreditunion.com. If you want to be a guest or want to talk about sponsorship opportunities, head over to growyourcreditunion.com to learn more. We will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.